You are now listening to the personal story segment of What Is Your Story podcast. What Is Your Story is a cultural project by Noisy Podcast that is dedicated to telling African stories. Our goal is to create a space where anyone can come and share the truth. Do you have a story to share?
Hi, my name is Daniella, and this is my story. So I'm going to be talking about football, how I started playing, how it has been a critical part of my life, and how everything began and how it is currently. I started playing football in primary school because my dad taught me every sports that I know. Swimming, table tennis, whatever you can think of that the average Nigerian could play. He taught me how to do that. So I found a very grand love with football, and my dad took me to go get my first football boots. I remember they were grey and blue T90s. We got it from some shop in VI. And when I took it to class, I think I was in primary 5 at that time, everybody was like, oh wow, like you're a girl and you're buying boots and your boots are even finer than our own. And it was really surreal, honestly. So I would say that's how football began for me. And I'll say as a primary school, it was actually kind of tough playing football because of course I was the only girl playing with the guys, and then the coach I would say was a bit welcoming, but once in a while he'll put me on the bench looking, maybe now he's looking and up, but that's just by the way. So going into secondary school, I had grown into myself a bit, and my love for football of course had grown greatly. Like football was, as a JS1 to JS3, it was my life, it was the crux of everything that I did. And like when I was at home, we lived in an estate, so there was like a general football field. Everybody would come out to play around like 4 to 5, and then maybe from 5 to like 7, people would just play, pick teams, everybody would just bond over football. And that was easy initially because at that time, like, I still had the support of family. Like I said, my dad was the one that introduced me into the sport. But then as I got older, by older I mean like just 2, just 3, I had some opposition. My mom wasn't a big fan of me playing football at all, and it was a very confusing scenario because she would invest in it. Like she would buy boots, she would buy jerseys. Once in a while she would buy a ball, but it was very clear cut that I didn't have her support, and it was very, very conflicting because I was a student. The way I grew up, I believed that you had to earn your fun to a degree. If you do well in school, you're well behaved, you get to have fun. Those were the terms of agreement. And for context, I was an A-star student, perfectly behaved child. And so I believe that at the very least, football should be the barest minimum that I get, right, as a prize for that. So every time I wanted to play, and I noticed that my mom would oppose that, it made me angry multiple times, and then her reasons for that kind of scarred me, maybe even up to this point, I would say, because back then she would say, I had to focus on school, but then I was doing excellently well, so then she had to make something up. And then she said, playing football is not ladylike, that's not what girls do, do I see any other girls on the field? But I never thought that mattered anyway, because I was passionate about it, I loved it, and it was everything to me. So I continued regardless of the opposition, which is hard to do when you're like 12, 13. So she realized that I wasn't going to stop, so she had to put a bit more blocks ahead of me. Fortunately, my siblings at the time, they also weren't very sporty. I have a brother, but he doesn't play sports. At least he didn't play football. And my sister doesn't play sports at all. I was doing all of this on my own, and then eventually my mom got a bit more serious with the opposition because she felt like I wasn't developing, in quotes, to a degree in which normal girls would develop. For context, I am what we would call a late bloomer. She thought that football was the cause of that, and obviously that's opened another pool of body image issues, which are just by the way. Going forward, she would do her best to keep me inside, so I would have to constantly make up new excuses, new rules, new tricks on how to leave the house. For context, my house had a big black gate, the average Nigerian gate, that when you open it and you close it, you just hear bam, like the slam is loud. So first of all, I mastered the arts of leaving the house without making noise. I had to close the gates very gently to make sure. And in all this, my dad was watching, by the way. He was fine with me doing whatever as long as my academics were solid, which, like I said, constantly were. maybe my mom would come back and I'll be at the field by 5. Maybe I know that she's going to come back by like 5:30. So once I see the car driving, I go hide behind the generator. And then the next time she knows that, oh, I saw you hiding behind the generator. What were you doing there? I have to make something up new. So going forward, maybe like sometimes I would even jump into the house, like our neighbor's house, because sometimes they're usually not around. So when we kick the ball and we're playing in my house and then we kick it into their compound, we'd have to jump the fence to go into their house, jump the fence, come back, and then continue playing before my mom came back. And sometimes I would even team up with my brother. Shout out to my brother. So he would help me like make some imaginary excuse on, oh, maybe I went on a walk, because I mean we're allowed to go on walks as long as I wasn't playing football. So he would probably say that, oh, I went on a walk with him. Meanwhile, I actually went to play football, and then we would hide my football boots at the backyard. So yeah, it was just a lot of scheming, which in hindsight I feel was very unnecessary, because really I was just playing football. Like there was no disadvantage to that, at least so I thought, and so I still think anyway. So yeah, as a secondary school, like football was basically my own social currency, I would say. So when I got to JS1, anybody who knows football knows that there are these Nike orange Mercurials that DJ Drogba particularly, he wore them to win Chelsea the Champions League in 2012. If you know, you know. So yeah, I had those Mercurials, and I had the professional ones, not just some copy. I had the professional ones. My aunt got me that, shout to her. So yeah, they were literally the talk of school. They made me so popular. Like I had SS3 boys. At that time I was in JS2. I had SS3 boys telling me, oh, let me be your school father, let me be I was feeling myself. And obviously, like I'm not a bum. I was actually good at football. Like I could hold my own against the guys to a good degree. So of course, like playing with guys, I'm thoroughly grateful to every single guy that I've ever played football with. Like even though you come across, stereotypes, misogyny here and there, some people will say, oh, there's a girl on your team, that means it's basically -1. And I feel like the thing with football is those things exist, of course, but all you have to do is prove yourself. Like at the end of the day, legs are legs. You have legs, they have legs. Theirs are stronger, honestly. I will not lie to you. But skill is skill, and at the end of the day, that's what separates you from the pack. So I always did my best, and I tried to have fun. Playing football was excellent social currency for me. It was easy to start conversations. It was easy to get to know people. It was easy for people to get to know me. And that was just basically how I became popular. I was popular amongst even cleaners would greet me and gate men would be like, oh, wow, we're footballer, things like that. I was just like a very popular name, I guess I would say, at that time.
Hi there. Just a reminder, Noisy Podcast is on a mission to publish and promote authentic African stories. If you've got a story to tell, we'd love for you to join us. Simply click the link in the description to sign up. You can also share your stories anonymously and submit through our Google form, where it will be brought to life through narration. Plus, we do group stories, a collective story concept that will feature a small group of people with a similar story. And don't forget to stay with us on social media. On Instagram, we are at whatisyourstory_podcast. And on Twitter, we're at WIYS_podcast. Follow us to stay up to date with all of our activities and upcoming episodes.
So yeah, going into SS1, I would say that time, of course, everybody already knows that this is the girl that plays football. So the school was trying to kind of build around, the work that I had done. So they're trying to get more girls in, trying to, help us build a team. Though that didn't turn out well, because we went for one competition, only one competition, and they literally almost broke my knee within the first 10 seconds of the match. I had to play the rest of the match with a serious band-aid on my knee, and of course we did not win. We didn't go far at all, but for the love of the game, it didn't change anything. Going into senior school, obviously I still continued, and at this point, I had people saying, oh, are you still going to play football when you're... Then I was 14, 15, and people will be asking me, oh, are you still going to play football maybe when you get to university? Are you still going to play football when you get to SS3? Because as SS3, everybody has come into this new puberty as hits, they're coming into new bodies, they're coming into new mindsets, and so they're like, oh, are you still going to be doing this tomboyish thing where you're going to be playing sports with the guys instead of you to be looking for a boyfriend or something funny like that. Yeah, that obviously didn't change anything. Football was a part of me, and I never stopped, even regardless of everything that was going on. Of course, in all this, my mom was still not happy that I was playing football, but I think she had come to a point where she had realized that she wasn't going to stop it anymore. So she was just going to set further blocks. So it got to the point where she had actually sent some I went to boarding school, so she had actually sent some matrons to monitor me and actually prevents me from going out. So now I had to go further in my scheming. So we have this system where usually after lunch you come back inside the hostel, and then maybe you come back inside the hostel by like 3, and then by 4 we have sports time, or 5 we have sports time. You can go out within that time range. So what I would do is that I wouldn't go back inside after lunch, because if I go back, then the matron is going to see me and prevent me from going out. So I had to wait where they dry clothes by 3. So I would wait there for an hour. Before then, I would have pre-planned and like pack my boots, pack my change of clothes, put it on the line. So I'll just wait there on the line for between 3 to 4, bring out my ball. Once it was 4 o'clock, change, head out straight to playing ball, so that the matron wouldn't catch her. And then when I would be on my way back inside, matron would be like, I know, see you. I was like, yeah, you know. Yeah. So definitely, I mean, you couldn't have seen me. So I honestly, like, the opposition I had to football made me a very cunning person, I guess is what I would call it, and it made me constantly think ahead. It was exhausting, honestly. As much as I'm laughing, it was exhausting, very tiring, and sometimes it was very sad, because I didn't think that amount of opposition from my own family was warranted, especially considering all other sectors were fine, you know, like academics and behavior and whatnot. So yeah, you know, there's lots of opposition. I remember one time in secondary school, the proprietors came, and like back then, whenever the proprietors would come around, it was a big deal. Like everybody, teachers would throw away their canes, everybody would be prim and pram, you must line up well, you must do this well. It's almost like a military regime. It was very serious. So one time she was walking, and then she saw me playing football with the guys, and she told me, hey you, come, young girl, come. So she carried me back to my hostel. So when the matron saw her walk in with me, and then she asked them that, why is this young lady playing with the guys? That I didn't know other girls that want to play with her. The next thing, the matron was like, you see, that means you cannot go out and play again. So I immediately ran to the proprietors, because at that time, like, proprietors, like I said, she was held in extremely high esteem. So normally I wouldn't go to speak to her, but then football was at stake here, so I didn't care. So I immediately ran back to the proprietors to tell her that she should let the matrons know that nothing can happen to me playing football, like nothing should stop me from going, which she you know, obliged, and she just told them that, you know, they should let me do my thing. And she was trying to, at that time, because she saw me playing alone, she tried to get some of the coaches to encourage more girls to join in, which they did. I mean, to a degree. Like I had fun playing with the girls once in a while, and the few times I did, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So as at SS3, the boys started playing on the really big pitch, and they low-key phased me out. It was okay, because, you know, at that time, puberty, like I said, has hit. So boys are faster, they're much stronger. They're not like how I was competing with them JS3, you know, they're faster, stronger, they have more endurance. So playing with them it got a lot more tedious, and it was harder to do. So that phased out a bit, and then eventually graduated, obviously flying colors, you know, got to university. I continued playing football, but then that was a bit measured, because although it was free, because I went to a public university, so then my mom is not going to be telling me what I cannot do, obviously. So you know, I was free to do whatever I wanted. But in university, the dynamic is so different, because it's not, you're just seeing random people on a very large pitch. Because the pitch in my school, it was divided, it was segregated. So there was the main one that had like chairs and all of that, and then there are like smaller sub niche pitches. So yeah, I just picked a spot. I always have my ball, so. And at this time, I was making some money from design, so I didn't have to depend on my parents to either buy me boots or buy me a ball or whatever I needed. So yeah, I would just like pick a spot on the field and be doing my own thing. And then usually guys would join me, and they would be like, like, you know, the universal language of football is let me field the ball or pass me the ball. And then from there, like, that's how friendships are actually established, you know. So random guys would come, we would play together, you know, we'll talk about our football journeys. Sometimes girls would join me as well. Eventually a coach saw me, and, you know, she had a team of girls, so she told me to join the team. I joined the team. In uni, I ended up captaining the faculty team. That I was in faculty of technology, because I was an engineer. I mean, I am an engineer. But yeah, I studied engineering in school, so I was captain of our faculty football team. Our highest place finish was 2nd place, and yeah, I'm very proud of those moments, because I mean, obviously I'm a superstar player, you know. And one thing I noticed about football is that I relish in it, you know. I'm very proud, especially when I'm playing with women. Like, I want to be the best player on the pitch, and I need everybody to know that I'm the best player on the pitch. So I'm a showboater. If you watch football, you know it. You know, like Ronaldo, that energy, that Mbappe energy, that you have to know that you are that person. You are that girl. You are that star. I was very proud of everything I did. I was a high school scorer, normally. Yeah, I had so much fun playing in uni, and of course in uni it was at my own pace because my degree was extremely demanding. So I couldn't actually play for like inter-school competitions or all those things. I couldn't find time to train for all of those. But when it came to, you know, the inside school activities, I always made sure I showed up in the capacity that I could. And yeah, I still play football till now that I'm 24, and it's, of course, it's still a large part of my life, but I have more loves as far as hobbies are concerned. So yeah, I've diversified my hobbies a lot more compared to how it was before. I wanted to be a footballer at that time, like when I was younger, but obviously that window has closed. Didn't work out for a lack of opportunities, as what I would say. But yeah, football is, I constantly watch, I still play. I even at some point wanted to start writing about it. I had a whole blog because I wanted to document female football at the time, but I stopped it because female football was really hard to it was really hard to find and access at that time. Thank God for more reach now. I said that's the full story of getting me to getting to know me and football and my relationship with the sport. Thank you for listening, guys.
That is it for today's episode of What Is Your Story? Thank you so much for listening and for being a part of our community of storytellers. I'll be back next week with another story to share. And until then, remember to keep telling your truth.